It's time.
Do you sort of tend to write, over quite a long course of time, or do you just get together and say, right, let's do an album?
A bit of both, really. I mean, the other strange thing is everybody in the band writes, so there's always a bit of kind of what songs are going on the album kind of issues. But yeah, songs can, I wrote a song on this new album, which I wrote 3 years ago. They can sort of float in the firmament until they're ready. But it's a strange thing writing songs. I think it was Ray Davis or somebody said, you write a song, once you've written it, it kind of takes a life of its own. You can't really direct it. You can argue forcibly that it should go on your new album, which it may or may not. But after that, whether people like it or not is obviously out of your control. And and also we're not unaware of the fact that we have a great catalogue of songs that people are very fond of. That we don't want to write songs that won't, compare in some way to those classics, whatever they're called. So we spend a long time writing songs and deciding what goes on an album. But it's a different process every time. I can't really say there's a formula to it. There isn't.
Yeah. Um, what was it like performing on top of Buckingham Palace, and did the Queen express any concerns for the structural soundness of her roof? That's from Adam Kilner in Redcar.
Yes, funny enough, that's the first thing they said. And if you look very closely at the footage, you'll see red dots of laser beams on our foreheads. If any of us reached below our knees with a tin opener, we were going to get shot because there's a lot of lead up there. But no, I don't know. I mean, I think partly the reason they put us on the roof was to keep us out of trouble. Yeah. No, we met the Queen and she was great, and the whole event was, a bit mind blowing, really. I mean, it wasn't something that we could have expected certainly to have happened 30 years ago, and even 2 years ago. But the Queen decided to have her jubilee. Well, she didn't decide. 60 years. But the Americans seem to think she decided she was going to have a birthday party.
Yeah, that's right.
But that we would be invited to play there, we didn't know that. And then the Olympics closing ceremony, of course, were two pretty, well, the most epochal events in our career, happening in 6 months. At this point, was obviously something we could never have imagined.
I bet you found it, it's quite a privilege to really take part in those two events.
Very much, yes. I remember on the roof of Buckingham Palace, Mike, our keyboard player, was going, "What are we doing here? I can't understand what we're doing here." We're saying it was a bit like the Matrix, and you take the blue pill or the red one, and we obviously took the wrong one, and we were in some parallel universe where madness. We're playing on the roof of Buckingham Palace. It can't be so. It can't be so.
You don't have a fear of heights, then?
A little bit, yeah, but the adrenaline in the moment got me through that. Yeah, and I don't like heights at all.
Hi Suggs, notice that some of the tracks are co-written by non-members of the band. Is this the first time? That's from Smudge.
I don't think it's the first time. I think maybe one or two tracks over the years. But yeah, Woody's brother co-wrote, I think, one song on this new album, maybe two. Woody is our drummer. I mean, it's not the start of something. I mean, it just happened that Woody wrote some songs with his brother, and we liked them. And we made a situation where he shares what he would get from the band with his brother. Is fine. Yeah, I mean, we've done cover versions of other people's songs, so there's no feeling that we can't do cover versions of band members' family songs either if they're good enough. Yeah.
Hi, Suggs. My name is Charlie, and I am 7 from Manchester.
Hello, Charlie.
My favourite things are madness and cars. In driving in my car, you say your car's not quite a Jaguar. What car do you drive now?
I don't have a car actually. No, I am. But funny enough, I always did want a Jaguar Mark II. What was his name?
Charlie.
Charlie. Yeah, check out one of them. 1960s Jaguar. Yeah, and I might get one day. But in London, I find driving just too much of a pain. You know, I had a scooter which I've stopped riding now. And in fact, it got stolen, to be perfectly honest. And I tell you what, to be perfectly honest, it got stolen while I was looking at it. And this traffic warden came up to it, and I realised it was going to get a parking ticket. And I was just so like, I don't know what, you know. I just thought, I don't care, you know, do whatever you want with it, crush it, take it. In London, driving and parking is so nightmarish that they have actually crushed our spirit. Anyway, the traffic warden was looking at it for a really long time, and I just thought, get on with it. I'm really not going to argue. Just stick the ticket on it, 60 quid, whatever. And then he walked off, and then a kid walked along and got on it and rode away. I'd left the keys in it. That's why the traffic warden was looking at it for so long and looking around for who owned it. And guess what? My insurance ran out 2 days previously. So that is the end of me using any form of combustion engine in London.
That is quite some story. That's a good reason.
Yes.
I'll give you that. Your new album's called Wee Wee CC Jar Jar Da Da. How and why did you come up with the title? And that's from Graham Woodward in Canterbury.
We went through a lot of titles. Originally, it was going to be called Circus Freaks. And we got in touch with an artist called Peter Blake, who did the original Sgt. Pepper's album cover. I don't know if you remember that. And has done other great, well, he's a great artist, basically. And he said he was interested. He was Ian Jury's tutor at art college. And that's how we kind of got to know him, because we were big fans of Ian Jury, so on and so on. He said, look, I don't really like doing album covers, because what happens is, you know, the band decide on the title, and then 2 weeks later, the bass player rings me up and says, we've changed our minds. So he said, as long as you promise we won't do that. So he said, no, it's definitely called Circus Freaks. And 2 weeks later, he was halfway through the most enormous oil canvas. And we changed our minds, and then we changed our minds again, and we changed our minds again. He said, right, what I'm going to do is just write all the titles that you've rejected and cross them out until you decide which one. And then Wee Wee CC was just a line from our new single, which is called My Girl Too. And it just seemed like, because it's just basically yes in 4 different languages.
Yeah.
You know, given the current climate of doom and gloom, you know, that part of our responsibility as a band is to try and cheer people up. And we just thought saying yes would be better than saying no, which it seems a lot of other people are saying at the moment. So, and also, you know, after all these, you know, quite complicated titles like The Rate Progress, Doolally, and all that, and it just seemed like a simple statement of where Madness are at. Yeah.
Also be good at any kind of award ceremonies or something to be presented again.
Exactly. Imagine if we won the Eurovision. How easy it would be. That's all we're thinking about.
It's all about Eurovision.
Yeah, it is.
Drip Fed Fred says, Suggs, is there an 80s band you would like to see revived?
Goodness me. 80s band that hasn't already revived in one way or another.
Are
there any left? Are there any left? An 80s band that hasn't revived.
That's the hardest thing, isn't it?
What's that band that did Da Da Da? Do 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 do. Can't remember their name. Anyway, and I don't really want them to revive. No, to be honest.
They've all been revived.
Yes.
Do you have any more acting roles lined up? If so, what kind of role would you like to play? And who would you like to share the screen with? That's from Joe and Milton Bryant.
I think George Clooney's got a movie on the go at the moment. No. Who would I like to play?
You look a bit like George Clooney. So.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, I could sell coffee like the best of them. No, to be honest, actually, funny enough, there was an Avengers movie years ago, and I wrote the theme tune to it. Unfortunately, it was the least successful film of all time. And I think partly because they didn't get me to play Steed. I've been wearing a bowler hat pretty much all my life. And I think they got Ray Fiennes in the end. I wouldn't have minded that part, but it's gone now, so it's too late. I can't think of anyone else I'd like to play in a movie, no.
What kind of role would you like to play if you?
Cheese, ham and cheese. Yeah. What sort of role? I don't know. You know, I have been doing a one-man show, which involves a certain amount of acting. And in fact, I am doing Madness the Musical at our house, the Madness Musical. We're doing a one-off thing for Help for Heroes on the 11th of November, which I am going to be in. I play the part of the old dad, which isn't the part I wanted. I wanted the male lead, but hey ho, the toothless tabby it is. And I do like, I mean, I like the idea of acting. I don't know, I've never really been offered anything that I feel is interested in me to think about it properly.
Watch this space then.
Watch this space.
Neil Cotton asks, Suggs, do you ever regret calling the band Madness? Having to keep up the nutty persona when a lot of your songs are actually a serious message, e.g. Embarrassment, Razor Blade Alley, and Forever Young, etc.
I suppose to an extent, but I mean earlier on, I mean we were called the Invaders originally, which I don't know if it was much better really. I mean, how far would we have got dressed as Martians? But you know, we are called Madness, and that's just the way it is. And you know, it is, you know, you see a certain amount of madness if you hang around for the band for too long. But you know, I think ultimately it just becomes a name, you know, and what songs we write aren't relevant necessarily to what we're called. You know, I mean, just that is what we're called, Madness. But yeah, I understand the question a bit. I mean, there were times when people kept expecting us to behave like fools. You know, we are a band that writes songs, and we are serious about writing songs. But on the other hand, you know, it is madness. It certainly is, yeah.
Yeah, and you've lived up to that now.
Well, you know, and yeah, I think we've done enough to prove that that's the case, yeah.
David Martin asks, would you ever appear on a reality television show?
I've thought about it, yeah. My friend who has a pub not far from here actually wanted me to do I'm Not a Celebrity, Get Me In There. And basically he was going to lock me in his pub, and my wife and my family were going to try and get me out. And I was going to live on pickled eggs and crisps and have to do certain tasks like leapfrog 4 bar stools in a row to earn a pickled egg, and see if I could last the duration of whoever was stuck in I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of there. But strangely, it never took off.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah,
a lot of people would.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah,
yeah,
it sounds good.
Yeah.
You mentioned your wife there. Does your wife call you Suggs or Graham or something else? That's from Bex in London.
Something else.
Yeah, that's a nice name.
Yeah.
I guess she probably doesn't.
No. She calls me Suggs, yeah.
Suggs, you are my inspiration, the
Really?
guy I look up to.
Wow, where have you been, man? I mean, Jesus Christ, you poor soul.
Who inspired you when you were 15? That's from Nutty Boy, 1997.
Lots of people, yeah. I mean, it's a great age, 15, yeah. I mean, I was really into football when I was a kid, so I'm a Chelsea supporter. It was a great team at that time. Peter Osgood, Alan Hudson, Peter Bonetti. It was a really fantastic football team. But musically, it would have been probably people like John Lennon, Bob Marley, Buster, Ian Dury, the Kinks, Ray Davis, those sort of people.
Do you, as a band, you sort of have very, varying tastes in that, and is Madness kind of what comes out?
Yeah, it is actually. Yeah, that's a very good question, because, of course, there are very obvious things like Ian Dury, because I sing in a vaguely London, you know what I mean, and Ray Davis writing about ordinary things, and then the sort of ska and reggae things. But yeah, I mean, the people in the band who were like Pink Floyd, or there are strange offshoots that you wouldn't necessarily see straight away in Madness. But I think that definitely gives it more of the texture, the rich texture that it has. Because there are kind of psychedelic elements to what we do, especially if you've seen some of them videos we made where we're dressed as mushrooms and all that. And musically, yeah, you can tell it's a Madness song, I think, when you hear it. But like on our new album, we've got a mariachi band on one song, and we've used gospel choirs or steel bands, or there are various things flying around the core ideas of what Madness are about.
Stilt the Wilt says, what's
What?
happened? That's isn't it? Stilt the Wilt.
Would you choose to have that as your domain name? Anyway, good for him. Go on.
Yeah. What's happened to Bedders? Has he officially left and been replaced by Graham, or did he play on the new album?
No, he didn't play on the new album. He turned up for the Jubilee on the roof of Buckingham Palace and for the Olympics closing ceremony. So I can only presume he's into the smaller, low-key stuff that the band are doing. But no, I don't know. Mark hasn't been around for a little while, but he's always welcome back. We've got a great new bass player in Graham, who's doing a great job. But the band, there's 7 people in the band, and there always will be. And if Mark wants to come back at any point, I mean, we don't really talk about what he wants to do because that's his thing. But if he ever wanted to come back, he'd be more than welcome.
What's the most embarrassing thing that's happened to you? That's from Ewan Irwin in Romford.
Goodness me.
It's a tough one, isn't
Too
it?
few to mention, too many to mention. And I suppose professionally we were supporting David Bowie in, I think, 1980 something on the Let's Dance tour of America, and we played to 200,000 people in the Philadelphia, whatever it was, stadium. By far the most amount of people we've ever played to. And I got waylaid with Lee Thompson, our saxophone player, who was either stealing or trying to borrow a jacket from a clothes shop that we went past. And we got waylaid there. And then we were late. So I had to run on stage. And as I ran on stage, I slipped off the edge. And it was literally 40 foot up. And I fell onto my coccyx on a piece of scaffolding. Fortunately, it was during One Step Beyond, which is an instrumental song. So I had time to crawl my way back up the scaffolding onto the stage. So huge applause to this whole... People thought it was part of my act, which it most assuredly is not. And I suppose that was embarrassing, yeah.
Oh, it must have hurt.
It hurt, actually, more than embarrassing, yeah. Actually, the question should have been, what's the most hurtful thing that's ever happened to you? Yeah, the embarrassment was the falling, the hurting was the landing. Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Did that sort of teach you to, not...
Well, it didn't teach me anything, really. I mean, not to go with Lee on your way to a gig, basically, yeah, because there's always something happening.
Toon Boy, he says, do you think your new songs are appreciated at live concerts as much as the old hits?
Not always, no. I mean, you write new songs in the hope that they will one day be appreciated. But I mean, whenever you play a new song, I mean, if I see a band, they play a new song, I'm not going to appreciate it as much as some of their older songs until I've heard it a few times myself. But you play new songs in the hope that they will, start to join in. I mean, we've got a song called NW5, which we still play, which is from the Norton Folgate album. And some of the songs, you just know when they are going to survive with the old classics. But you can't tell when you first play them. You can't tell until the audience reaction and until you played them a few times. But, we try and play 4, 5, 6 new songs every time we play for our own benefit and for the benefit of the future of the band, because there's every possibility we would just fallen into a black hole of 80s nostalgia, unless we sort of move forward a bit. And we have. With our last 2 albums, I think we really have. So, we're proud of the new songs, and we play, like I say, 5 or 6 of them.
Do you sometimes find that, when you sort of write and record a new album, and you kind of expect a certain number of tracks to go down a storm with a live audience, but sometimes find that actually it could be other songs that become very popular?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's the great joy of playing live, of course. It is spontaneous, and the greatest pleasure of being in Madness is that we really have a good time on stage, and it's for that very reason that you never really know what's going to happen. Yeah, and you write a song you think is going to go down great, and it doesn't. Yeah, and vice versa. That's right. Now, you can't move that, can I? Just want to really show your viewers that picture of the lovely, cuddly Scottish fans.
We can take it off the wall, probably.
Can we? But this is my time. This is when I used to live around King's Cross. And when the Scottish fans used to come down to London, it wasn't all just tartan wigs and hats. That's what they did to Wembley Stadium, boys and girls. Look at that. That's your happy-go-lucky Scottish fan, eh? Lovely, isn't it? Lovely! But don't make them like that anymore.
However, that said, you are...
I am half Scottish, I hasten to add.
But you weren't there that day.
No. No, I think a Glaswegian was trying to sell me a shoe outside King's Cross Station. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the same day. Yeah.
I was looking forward to reading your autobiography last Thursday when I got a message saying it has been postponed.
Yeah.
What
I'm
went
going to have
wrong?
another life. I got bored of that one. I got halfway through it and it bored me to tears. I just thought, I'm going to come back as a worm and write another one. So I've
Well,
become a Buddhist, basically, and I'm going to come back in another life and write a really good book.
what happened there then?
I just got a bit fed up with it. Yeah, it's a lot of work writing a book. I mean, I got about 5/8 of the way through it. And I think the first 2/3 are really good. But then there was obviously a big pressure from the publishers to get it out for Christmas. And I understand, of course, that you're more likely to sell stuff around Christmas time. But I didn't feel it was finished, you know, and it was a bit of a shame because I did start it 2 years ago. But then no one could have predicted what happened to the band this year, you know what I mean? And it just got so involved and in a great way, you know, that I just didn't have time to finish it. So I will bring it out at some point. I mean, I hope to finish it in January next year, basically, if the publishers are listening. No, and it's, you know, it will be great, but it just didn't feel like it was finished. So I didn't feel like putting it out.
How do you go about sort of piecing all that together? Do you just sort of put yourself in a room for an evening and think, right, what did I do in 1975?
There were different phases of it. You know, there were bits where I just for 2 weeks just sat on my own, just wrote as much as I could. I went away for a bit to Mexico and tried to finish it and nearly did, but I couldn't. But no, I didn't write it in any chronological order. I just wrote the things that came to my mind most clearly and then tried to make some chronology out of it all. But I still found that a bit hard. It does jump around a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it may be unreadable. I don't know. It's for the viewer to decide.
Nutty Girl Australia says, any plans to come back to Australia?
Ooh.
The V Festival in Perth was a massive success.
Yeah, no, we are talking about it at the moment. Yeah, we are. Yeah, we're talking about going to Australia. Yeah, who knows? I mean, we never look too far into the future, but you never know. I mean, we know we have a lot of fans in Australia, and it's just such a long way. Move it up, move it up, move it up, move it up. I mean, you know, yeah, carry on, sorry.
This is from Stace. Hi, Suggs. As a sax player, Madness are my all-time idols. If you were to add another instrument in a gig, what would your choice be and why?
We have added other instruments, yeah. I like the mandolin, actually, is a good instrument. Have you ever heard the Faces? But we've had a lot of other, I mean, we've had strings and, you know, we've had a lot of brass. We've still got quite a lot of brass players. We've had backing vocalists and percussionists. Yeah, can't think of any others, really.
Hi, Suggs. Which is your favourite Madness album? That's from Luce Jones.
I suppose the new one, yeah, Wee See See Ya Ya Da Da, for obvious reasons. But no, I think all our albums are great. And people say, "What's your favourite song?" Any song that makes it onto a Madness album is something that we all really like. You know, because to get through the 7 of us in the first place and then make it onto a Madness album, it has to have had some real strength in the first place. So I don't know. You get some people embarrassed what they did in the past, or the way they looked, or the way they behaved, or what they did. You know, for some reason or another, we started out at a pretty good place, and we tried to keep in that place.
Yeah. Do you spend much time listening back to your old albums?
Once sort of every 6 months or so, if the family are away, or they come home, you know, and they hear me in floods of tears in the basement, face down on the floor, banging the floorboards with my fists. Not very often, no.
Suggs, have you seen your live Suggs show twice? Oh, sorry. He's not asking you if you've seen your own show.
I haven't.
Suggs, have seen your live Suggs show twice and thought it was fantastic. Any chance of it being released on DVD at any point? That's from NCFC Sean.
Yeah, there is a possibility. Yeah, he's alluding to a live show that I've been doing.
Yeah.
Which is just me talking about my life. Yeah, which is part of the idea of writing the book, that's why the book didn't really get finished, because the live show sort of took over a bit. But so I just tell stories and sing songs, but I will be doing it next year. So I didn't want to bring a DVD out because I was going to do more of the one-man show this year. But then, because the band has been doing so much, there wasn't enough room for that as well. So I'm going to do that in, I think, April, May next year, the one-man show. And then hopefully there'll be a DVD of that, yes.
Cool. Dottie, this is from Dottie. You spent some of your childhood in Hastings. My dad's claim to fame was that he went to school with you. Do you go back much?
Occasionally. I've still got friends in Hastings. I like Hastings a lot, yeah. But I don't go back a lot, no.
Pretty simple.
Yeah.
Lainey says, I have followed you, not literally, since I was a teenager.
It's a shame, never mind.
Very late 30s now. How do you manage to get better looking the older you get? How do you take care of yourself?
I have a very strict regime of male thingy-bobbing. Yes. Grooming, that's it, yeah. I don't know, you know, that's not a question I can answer, really.
That's what all the hot guys say.
Yeah, exactly. Just, you know, layers of fake humility and... yeah, I don't know, you know.
You've achieved so much in your career and dipped your fingers in lots of pies. Do you have any ambitions you've yet to fulfill? That's from Ashley Ryan in Southend.
Not that I can think of, no. I mean, having said that, you know, I was asked by somebody this week, you know, you've done so much of the thing, you know, do you feel you've kind of done it all? And that's the opposite of that question. But it's neither, you know, what it is every day something new happens if you've got any kind of wherewithal. If you're lucky, I suppose, as well. And I've been very lucky, and different things keep coming along that I didn't expect. And so, you know, every day brings something new, you know, not every day, but a lot of the time. So I don't know, you know, I don't have any plans or ambitions, but things seem to come along that are stimulating or challenging, and I get on with them when they come along. I mean, I might be running out of them, I don't know, who knows.
What happened to the first painting by Peter Blake that he was mid-doing Circus Street? There you go, you've answered that. Madness forever, that's from...
Yeah, I don't know, actually, it's a very good question, yeah. I was trying to work out whether we own the artwork that he did or not, but the great unfinished masterpiece, who knows? Who knows, who knows?
Maybe you have to buy it off him.
Well, yeah, I mean, we haven't asked yet, have we? No, we haven't. We have, yeah? What did he say? We can buy it off him. How much? Oh, 0p. Brilliant. There you go. Well,
Free.
Next time I'm here, I'll bring it with me, the half-finished masterpiece. Yeah.
I'll go with tenner on that.
Yeah.
Hi, Suggs. Have you ever considered adding a lady into the band mix?
Whoa!
Who would be your choice of today's females to add in some estrogen?
Hang on. We've been rushing into the future. There's no one more PC than us. But don't rush us, all right? That's one step too far. A woman in the band? What? Can you imagine? Let's send the whole thing haywire. No, we did have actually. Lee, our sax player, went missing for a couple of years in the late 70s, and we did have a girl called Lucinda on saxophone. We did have a girl in the band for a bit, yeah. No, we never made a plan for who wasn't or wasn't in the band. When the band started, it was just a big gang of us, girls and boys, and whoever really wanted to do it did it. And the ones who didn't turn up to rehearsals kind of faded away until there were just 7 of us. But yeah, I think it's a good idea, actually. Yeah.
So who would be? I mean,
which girl?
Yeah. Who would be your choice?
Oh.
You'd have anyone to join you on stage?
Jade, who just got chucked off the X Factor last night.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
That's a great job,
voice,
Jade.
Good dancer. She was dancing to our new single as well, so I know she's got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Sure
Good.
Sure
brilliant. We got that sorted. That was easy. That was easy.
KW Springford says, "Hi Suggs, will you be performing at Glastonbury 2013?" That's Kyle Springford, actually, from Southend.
Pardon? We hope so. Being the royal we, obviously. Glastonbury's a fantastic thing. It's the best festival in the world, no doubt about it. I mean, we went to Coachella last year, which is an amazing festival, but it doesn't really compare to Glastonbury. And yeah, we'd always be happy to play at Glastonbury. I don't know yet. I think our people are speaking to their people and all that lark. Yeah, yeah,
You're just on a slightly different note. You're a Chelsea fan.
yeah.
What chances do you think they've got of winning the Premier League
That
title this
Clutterbuck
season?
wants to have a look at himself, doesn't he? That's all I've got to say on the matter. Anyway, we're still top of the league, yeah, and everything's, you know, I think the fact we did as well as we did with 9 men is a sign of the spirit in the team at the moment. Yeah, I think we've got every chance of winning the league. Yeah, I do. I think there's a great little team there coming along, and they're getting better all the time.
You must have been quite annoyed when Hernandez scored the winner yesterday because it looked
I was
offside.
more annoyed at that referee, but I know you should never go at referees, you know, and I know they have a hard time, but he just really ruined that game. He did. Obviously, you know, if he'd thrown off 2 Man United players, I wouldn't be saying it in quite the same way, obviously. But at the same time, I did think he had a pretty ridiculous game, and that's a fact.
Yeah. Is it true that one of the new tracks was written with Amy Winehouse in mind? That's from Timmy 1977.
That's his name.
Timmy 1977.
Oh, right, yeah, great. No, because there's a song called 1978. It's confusing me now.
Oh.
No, there is a song called Circus Freaks, which Lee, our saxophone player, wrote, which is about being in the fishbowl of a band in the circus of show business, which can get on your nerves a little bit sometimes. But fortunately, Madness are too old to be involved in all that sort of lark, so we get left alone by the tabloids and the paparazzi. In fact, we have to encourage them to bother us. But not saying, withstanding that some poor people in this world have been harassed to the point they shouldn't have been. You know, unfortunately, poor old Amy did come from around the same way as us, and we used to see what used to happen to her, and it really wasn't a very pleasant thing. Not that she didn't have her own demons and problems, but I think they were exacerbated by the fact that she couldn't go into any pub in Camden without 45 people poking, pushing, and cajoling her, basically. And, you know, that is the double duality of being in a band. You know, it comes with great joy and success and luxury, and it also comes with all that other stuff, and how you manage that is not always possible for some people. I mean, you know, I'm also in a band with 6 other people, so, you know, put it quite frankly, no one bothers us. But, you know, I do feel sorry for more vulnerable artists who don't get any time for themselves.
Okay, and this is the last question. Suggs, is there any particular venue you are looking forward to playing on the tour? That's from Spike.
Yeah, we're going to do a matinee at Brighton, in Brighton. We did a few last year, and, you know, I don't know, for some peculiar reason, kids still all have affinity with Madness. And, you know, we pretty much started out as kids, and it's a great thing that, I mean, really young kids, you know, so, you know, they can't get into licensed venues, so we've been doing it a bit on and off, doing concerts at like 6, 7 o'clock, where every adult must be accompanied by a kid, and that is a real, you know, it's a great feeling to see all them kids come to see Madness. Whether they're forced by their parents, these poor kids, to watch our videos or not, I don't know. But I'm looking forward to that, yeah. I'm looking forward to the whole tour, of course, but I think that's quite a nice thing, yeah.
Brilliant. Just before we go, do you want to give a nice shout out to your new album for the viewers?
Yeah, yeah, rap fans, yeah. Yes, 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 yes. It's called We See Ya Da 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 We See Ya Ya Da Da. It's really brilliant, especially towards the sort of middling to the second end of the first end, and the cover's very nice by Peter Blake, and it's 42 to 99 pp in your local shops.
And it's out today.
It's out today. That's very true. Happy birthday to our album!
Yay!
Hey!
Thanks, Suggs.
Thanks you very much.
Cheers.
Cheers, man.